Okay, so this new Sapphire pump that we're going to put in place, or that you might be using already. So some basic operations here when it comes to the programming. So turn it on, press the on-off button. It'll come on, it's going to go through a warm-up phase and eventually get us to a point where we can start using it. So it's going to ask us if we want to use this with an adult or with a pediatric, and that's called a CCA. It's the clinical course area. If you'll notice at the top of the screen, the battery indicator, the full battery indicator in this situation, the continuous pump, it's what the order of or the operation it's in. This is the CCA, the clinical course area. It's asking you to choose an adult or pediatric. It was an adult previously, so that's why it's listed adult there, and exit also exists. So the screen itself is a touch screen. You can use your finger to do whatever it is that you want with the screen. I'm actually going to use the stylet. You can just simply touch it. It doesn't have to be your finger. So a couple things. Once you've chosen your clinical course area, in this case it's the adult, you can repeat the last infusion. So if you've already programmed it to whatever, you can repeat that last infusion. Obviously, if you don't know what it was, well, then you're not going to use that. Otherwise, you're going to choose new infusion, and then we'll choose our medication. So let's say you accidentally hit adult and you really need to use this with a pediatric patient. Without turning it off, you can actually change the clinical course area. If you tap Options, Pump Configuration, General Settings, you're going to tap the bold word adult, and then it's going to let you come back to choose the clinical course area that you really wanted, which was pediatric. So a couple other things. So each clinical course area, the pediatric and the adult, has medications already pre-programmed into the pump for you to use. To access those, you're going to tap New Infusion. Now, there's a couple ways you can get to them. You can, old school, I think it's called T9 texting, those medications. So there's there's normal for normal saline. If it exists, it'll say find, and you can tap find. It'll take you to everything that begins with NO in the list. Now, if you don't want to type the drug name in there, you can simply bypass this by just tapping find. And now you can scroll through the entire list of medications that is in the pediatric drug list. Now, the drug list for the pediatric and for the adult are different. There's a couple of different medications in one than the other, but they are all programmed correctly according to the length-based tape and the PALS and ACLS guidelines. You can also just simply program the pump for a regular milliliter an hour. You can choose either the normal saline, or you can just simply choose general. It's going to say, are you sure? You're going to confirm that. And then it's going to ask you, well, is it just a milliliters per hour dose? There's not, you don't need to calculate anything. You're not building anything. Or you can use the dose calculation, which is similar to what we've done with the Braun pumps that we have. So let's just say we want to choose milliliters an hour. Okay, we're just going to put it in there as a flow rate. Is it weight-based? The answer is no in this situation. And we're going to go with milliliters an hour. So that rate, you'll notice that there is a range. This range for the medications that are already pre-programmed are default. It's already there. You'll have a range that you can use either for the dose or rate, the volume. They're already pre-programmed. So if we put that in there, it turns black. It'll allow us to move forward. Now, volume to be infused is the same, so you'll have a minimum and maximum range for that particular volume. And just as long as you stay within those ranges, you should be just fine. If you fall outside of that range, it will not let you continue through the setup. Now You're going to choose your rate, confirm it. How much fluid is contained in the bag as a whole? Okay, what do you have remaining? So let's just say that you have 250 remaining, and you can hit OK. So if you did use a weight-based infusion that's milliliters per minute or milliliters per hour, you just simply choose yes. Enter the patient's weight in kilos. There's your range that it will allow you to go to. Then it's going to say, okay, which one do you want to use, the per hour or per minute? You're simply going to choose one. All right, dose rate calculation. So we'll just tap dose rate calculation. It's going to ask you the concentration. How did you build it? For instance, we'll just say milligrams and milliliters. Again, your range. We'll say we put 1 milligram in another range of volume. And say, okay, that's what you calculated. Is it weight-based, yes or no? If not, you'll hit no, and you'll just choose the dose rate. Let's choose this one instead. Let's say micrograms a minute. You can choose your dose rate, whatever dose rate you want to go with. Maybe it's you want to do that in amount of time. You can. You just simply enter the time, and again, there's your maximum and minimum ranges. Minutes, hour.